Hey everybody, it's Michelle LaVore and
Devin LaVore
coming at you. And like we do always at the beginning of our videos, we just want to say a huge thank you for those who continue to support us. And if you would like to support us and what we're doing right now, you can just click, we have a PayPal link below, and we would just really appreciate that. If you've been encouraged and would like to sow into us, that would be amazing.
Especially this week, because this week is a need week.
Yeah.
For real. But that's all I was going to say.
All right.
I wasn't going to go into a long appeal or anything. So.
All right. So we're just going to basically just talk about some of the things that God has been showing us, and it's just been kind of, I feel like ever since that. I guess it was 2 videos ago when I was praying and God gave me the vision, this boat vision of just this boat with this, the wind was not in the sails and it was just sitting on this way, just this water that was completely calm, the sun, the blue sky. It's like I just can't seem to get away from that vision. And once again, God again today brought it up, and it was during our worship time. Mm-hmm. And so, and I was actually during prayer time. I was praying, and I really felt like God was speaking to me about just, He gave me this vision of, these people that are in the boat, and it was really kind of, it was us, our family, but it didn't actually look like us, but it was that idea.
Represented
families, that idea, families,
people in that same situation.
Yes. And we had been all underneath the boat, kind of like in the cabin area. Yeah. And it was this idea of like, okay, we're opening up the hatch, but there's like some timidity in coming out because we had been through just such an intense storm. Yeah. There was fear of coming out and being like, we're just looking around like, okay, is the storm over? What's going on? But we were coming out into this place where it was just sunny and God was just like, hey, come out, like, and it matches up with we really feel recently how God's just been really showing us He's kind of bringing all of us out in our own ways of just out of certain ways of thinking, certain ways of just living. Can
I touch on that real quick? Well, because just to give context, bookmark where you're at.
Yes.
But to give context, God gave our oldest son a vision about this tune being in our heart. Just this certain part of our heart is just kind of locked up. It's like it's still dead in a sense of like faith-wise and with some of the things that we believe, old thinking, but they're really deep-seated things. And God's just been doing all of that in our lives, just been having us come out of that tomb area.
Yeah.
So, unpause.
And so really this vision was lining up with the same idea of like, hey, I want you to come out. And for me specifically, one of the areas that God's been hitting on is this area to dream with Him. But to dream without the anxiety, without fear, without just getting bogged down by timing and details and all that. But just to dream, have fun. Yeah. And I really felt like God was saying that this is a time, this moment where the wind hasn't started to blow yet. His Spirit isn't moving our boat yet. Is really this time in this peaceful place to now He's like, hey, I just want you to start, I want you to come out. I want you to come alive. I want to make you healthy. I want to fatten you up. That's something that He's been saying just recently about this
couple days.
This idea of fattening. And it was, for me, I really feel like God's like, I want to fatten you up and bringing your heart to a healthy place, this completely balanced place.
Well,
go ahead.
Because in that vision that God gave me about that place, that tomb place in my heart, I was looking really scrawny.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking really scrawny and dirty. I had a loincloth. That's about all I had.
Yeah.
And it was just like, God was like, that is so opposite what I want for that part of your heart.
Yeah.
I have so much more planned for it. And he even showed me what I would look like with his vision implemented into my life. But it was almost that sense of like the hiding under the cabin thing. And it's just like, no, there's a storm out there. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to come out. It's going to be stormy. You know, birds going to fly by, poop on my head, something.
Yeah.
Something's going to mess it up. You know what I'm saying? And God's like, no, come on out, man. So it fits into what what the vision that God's been giving you as well. You know?
Yeah, and it goes along with John chapter 11, verse 44, where Lazarus comes out of the grave, and Jesus says, "All right, take off the grave clothes, and go and give him something. Get him some food.
Give that man a sandwich. He need a sandwich."
And I really just feel like God's like, yes, this is a time where I'm trying to get off these grave clothes, these clothes that are thinking like, oh man, we're gonna go into another storm. We've got to survive, and we have to, maybe even portion things out. And there can be fear in the dreaming. There can be just apprehension and like, okay, we're ready to save us. Keep that hatch open, because if I start seeing a cloud, we're going in. You know, and
it's like Grug from the Croods, right?
Yes.
He's always looking for the cave.
Yep.
Because for him, safety is cave. Cave is safety.
Yes.
And then our cave is messed up. Our whole valley's messed up. Okay, well, we got to go on a journey to find what? Not to find life, not to explore, not to adventure. We got to find another cave. Yep. Because that is what safety is.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly. And he finally comes to a point where he realizes, oh, wow, I don't need a cave anymore. And so there's freedom to then go to wherever God wants to take you.
Yeah.
And it was very much the same idea. And so here it's like God's like, hey, come out, and now I want you to dream. I want to fatten you up. I want to make your hearts healthy. I want to clothe you. I want to give you good things to eat. And I really believe it's just this time where he's like, I'm going to make your hearts healthy, so that when the wind of my spirit comes, it's just going to be joyous. It's going to be filled with just peace and righteousness and joy in the Holy Spirit. It's going to be a time where it's like, wow, this is an awesome adventure. Mm-hmm. It's not come out with just great apprehension, because that's what happens when you've been going through storms. You've been going through all the stuff that you know that the Lord himself led you into. And now it's like, God's like, all right, follow the lead of my spirit. And it's like, okay, all right, I will, because I trust you. I know you, and you are good, but you're like kind of bracing yourself for another round of like,
for what you believe,
real hardship,
for the negative thing that you believe is going to happen. Mm-hmm. Based on past experience.
Yeah.
Even being led by the Lord. Mm-hmm. Being led into, we've been led, the whole thing's been a storm.
Yeah.
The past 2 years have been a storm. And then we've been led to some hurricanes and tornadoes within the storm.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what? Do you hate us? I'm done. You know what I mean?
But it's like now God's saying,
but God's with you.
Hey, trust me that I'm taking you to a good place. And he's really saying like, hey, I'm telling you, again, just this constant reminder of like, the storm is over. So I want you to come out, and I want that fear to melt away. I don't want that fear anymore. And even this morning I was just picturing just kind of this idea of like fear melting away. Kind of like, when you go into spring, the snow starts melting away. Mm-hmm. And God's saying like, I am wanting to move. I want to warm up your hearts to who I am. I don't just take you through the storms. I'm taking you through things with purpose. But it's always, I'm leading you to a good place. Can you trust now that I'm speaking and I'm declaring that the storm is over, that it really is over, and that you can trust me that when this next move of my spirit comes, it's all good. It's leading you right to where you want to be.
Yeah, and then it's like in the midst of it, God's giving you, like, you know, He gave us those three different prophetic words that were basically saying the same thing about how the first 2 years were going to be HE double hockey sticks. And it has been, but the third year is going to be totally different. It's going to be a time to build. It's going to be a time to plant. It's going to be a time to rise. It's going to be a time to bear fruit. It's going to be a time to put roots down. It's going to be, you know what I mean? And it's like, He's like, I even told you it was going to be hard, and I even told you. So it's not like God's leaving us in the dark or having us be blindsided, you know? And another thing, it's like you can get to those points where you do want to quit, but you're so far down the road, you're like, it will take just as much money for me to go back as it would to go forward. So I might as well just keep trusting you and going forward. You know what I mean? To start over completely, because that's what we would have to do. We would have to literally just start over. And I was imagining, because I talked about us being in an apartment. Maybe we need to be in an apartment first, or rent a house, and then we'll go from there. And God's like, that's Ishmael thinking. Don't do that. Yeah. But I was thinking, like, wow, the amount of money it would take just to do that would be tremendous.
And honestly, even the favor of the Lord to
even
do that.
That too. But, you know, people do that kind of stuff all the time without God, right? And so I was thinking, I was picturing us, and I believe God was in here as well. I was picturing us having done that, and then we're in this place that we think is safety, and the Lord is not there. And I just got this, I believe the Lord allowed me to feel what that would be like. And it was like, when I was in that place and I was finally there, I wanted nothing more than to just get out of there. I was like, I want to get out of there. God, what are you saying? Get me back to where you want me to be. Wherever that is, I just want to be where you are. You know? And it just made me appreciate our situation so much more. You know? Not that I was begrudging the situation or I was in the place that I wanted to quit or anything like that. No, I wasn't. I'm just giving an example, because sometimes we do want to quit. We want to, or we get to these places in our lives where we're just like, I'm just done. But you don't even know what that means. It's like, well, what does that mean you're done? So what does that mean? What's going to happen? Nothing. I just kind of have to stay here and I'm just mad about it. You know? We've been there a couple times. And so another thing I thought was really cool, that in conjunction with, in addition with your visions about that God gave you, and why was it so difficult for you to come out from the cabin of the sailboat to dream? And I just felt like the Lord showed me. He was like, well, this is why it's difficult. Let's just say, like, so Michelle, she got all this, like, there's a desk down there in the cabin, right? And she was like, all right. And God was leading her to dream. And she was like, okay, she was already afraid in the midst of the storm. But she was like, all right, I'm going to do it. Gonna do it. Okay, cool. And then as she's doing it, she's getting excited, right? But there's some stress that's coming in there as well. But God's like, I gotta start you. I gotta get you going. And so she's got all of her. He showed me all these papers on this desk, and God was like, that's her dreaming. That's her dreams, right? And then for whatever reason, there have been times where I felt like the Lord was like, there's been times when I've asked you guys, okay, you got to come out of the cabin and come up to the top of the boat, because there's some things that you need to do to secure the boat or whatever, right? And we all went out. It wasn't just, I'm going to go out, you guys stay here, and I go out. No, we all went out. And we did some things, and it was really windy and crazy, like, oh my gosh, what are we doing out here? And it's like, all right, but we're doing what God wants us to do. All right, now we go back into the cabin. Whoa, that was insane. You know, Indianapolis, for example. And so craziness that we experienced there. And so we get back in, and so when we go out, when Michelle's got all of her dreaming material out, we open that hatch, and her dreaming stuff goes flying everywhere. And she was crushed, because it was like it was all right there. I was like, why did you have me dream all this stuff and lay all this stuff out and then call us to go out the boat and it's going to blow all over the place? Mm-hmm. It's like, that's not even right.
Yeah.
And then there was this a completely separate time. It was two separate visions where she had this piece. It was like it was almost like a piece of a map from like 1870, you know?
Yeah.
And she just had it on her. And then again, we were called to go out into the storm. And she opens the hatch, and just as soon as she opens the hatch, that piece of the map goes flying out from her. It was like inside, you know? It was just like just in the bosom.
Yeah.
And it was just like it just went flying out. And it was lost into the darkness of that crazy storm. And you were like, I'm done. Mm-hmm. But see, that's what I'm done means right there. It's like, I'm not dreaming this stuff anymore. Yeah. No more. Nope. Sorry. Yeah. And then you haven't since then.
Yeah, I really haven't. And it's been a really hard area. And I really think that last little piece happened at the end of December for me. Because it was like, I'm holding on to this piece that's saying God is going to move and he's going to do the great thing, that dream. And then the end of December came and it just like... That's
going to get us to our promise.
Took it all away.
Yeah.
And, you know, and of course God was there the whole time, and it really was the timing piece. And that's why it's been there for a long time. It's the timing piece. It's the thing that I always held on to from the beginning.
Yeah.
But
now it's gone.
And it was just like, well, that's gone. And so for me, it almost became like, what is the point of dreaming when it's like you have no control over any of it? You dream it, and it's like, well...
When there's so many other struggles going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so many other struggles that are going on. It's like, God, okay, well, you've put us in this position. You know, this is just between you and us. Just between you and us. We know you've put us in this position. And some of the things that happen in this situation that you've put us in are like small things that we have to like, it seems like it's a struggle to get it taken care of.
Yeah.
And you want us to dream? It's like, you know what I'm saying? That's the kind of thinking that kind of can come against it. And it's like, but, you know, you came out.
Yeah.
That was part of your coming out of that cabin was your tomb.
Yeah. And so, and honestly, like, especially at the beginning of this year, I mean, God has definitely been speaking some amazing things over just, like, what He has for us and our family and things like that. Just... Yeah. Really awesome visions that He's been giving. That's just, it's like making things bigger, getting like we have been really receiving a bigger picture of what God's doing, which has been awesome.
Yeah.
But I really felt like this over the last couple of days, really, that God just kind of extended this invitation to, it's like, hey, I want you to dream, and I'm talking about like dream about things that I actually like really enjoy. One of them is traveling and just doing fun things and vacations in particular.
Legos.
But for me, that's an area that I'm just like, what's the point? We can't do any of that now. Like, why should I dream? Because I would want to know. I'm also kind of, I really, as much as it's so funny because I don't think of myself really as like, I guess a type A or like a administrative kind of person, yet I really want all of those ducks lined up ultimately, because I'm like, ooh, well,
yeah, you're very much like that, actually.
We need to know like
you're
when we're going to
at
it. But I'm just always like, well, I don't really want to even go down that road until we know when we can go, and we got to make sure, because I'm very like, I think about all like the little details that are going to have to come into play for things to happen. And so I can get caught up in all of that.
And God's like, I'm not even asking you to do that.
I'm
asking you to dream.
Just dream with me.
Dream
just have
the big dream.
Fun with me. And like,
because a lot of times those little details hinder the dream. Yeah. They limit. They circumcise the fullness of what you really want. And you think, well, that can't happen, so this is a good dream And God's like, that ain't, no, sorry, what's really going on in there?
Yeah.
You know?
And so it was just like the other day, because actually you were saying...
I was talking? No way.
I know, surprise. No, but you were, I think I was looking something up, and I was just talking to you about it, and you were like, man, I just really want to speak over you that you can just have these conversations and that they would just be fun and like...
Oh, yeah. That was yesterday.
2 days ago.
2 days ago. Okay. Were we here?
No. We were in another room. Yeah.
Okay.
And, but anyway, it was just this idea that I would just be free to have these conversations. Because we've had other conversations where, or at least Devin, he'll want to start, he's like, hey, let's have just like a scenario fun conversation. And for me, they're extremely difficult. And
par for the course.
And because I'm just like, well, you need to know all the details in order to do this. And so anyway, yesterday in my journal, I just wrote in there, it's like, Lord, I just want to be able to dream with you and have it be fun without anxiety, without any like fear popping up, without the timing factor coming in. Right. And all of that. And so since yesterday, I really feel like God's kind of had me in this place of like, let's just dream. Let's just have fun. You know, and even some of the things that were kind of tangle me up, it's like, go ahead, like search out some answers, and you'll think like what you think might be issues really aren't what you think they are.
Yeah.
They're not going to present issues, and it's really this idea of like, listen, I am the God who created everything. I can handle anything.
Yeah.
And there is nothing that, no laws that man has set up, no ways that this world works that I can't overcome.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, wow, okay, yes, that's so true. And you know,
are different.
Mm-hmm.
I can just tell. You're just like, I'm not going to be bothered by this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's really God saying, hey, I want you to come and dream again because I love to dream with you, but I also want to show you the fruit that I've worked in your life since everything got blown away.
Yeah.
Because we went through some situations where we were dreaming big time, thinking things were going to happen, and it got literally blown away.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, Lord, how could you do that? You know, mm-hmm. Those are the moments where you need to see the bigger picture more than anything.
Yeah.
You always need to see the bigger picture, obviously, but it's like, more than anything, you want to see the bigger picture then. When all your stuff gets blown away, and that last little piece goes flying out, it's like, all right, what's the bigger picture? Because you know God has you in a certain place, but then things are working a certain way, and you go, what's really going on? And you know what? I don't even know if God's telling me everything that I really want to know, so I'm just going to keep trusting Him and seeking Him and just humbling myself before Him and just saying, Lord, you could even be angry. You could even be hurt or devastated or whatever, but you can still come to the Lord in that place and be like, God, I just need your help. I need... And it's like, in those places, God will always take you and lead you. And, you know, that could turn into a whole other video right there, so I'm just going to stop there.
Yeah.
But, you know, these kind of things that are going on, they're happening in all of our...
each one of us.
Each one of our kids are experiencing this very thing.
You know, we're all individuals, so it's all different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it was with the melting away. I really felt like for me, God's like, as you dream, things are going to melt away. Those it's like those areas that maybe have been frostbitten by the storm and all of that. It's like it's going to come alive. And that's really the whole point of whatever God is working in, and we can just see individually how it's different, but God is really doing overall the same thing. He's bringing all of us out, and He really is bringing our hearts to this healthy place. He's thawing out the areas that might be cold. He's breathing new life into everything. And why is He doing that? Because He's like, I want you to be in these healthy places in your heart so that when I move, it truly just brings great joy, and it's not a place where you're just kind of like bracing yourself for something. Because God's like, I want you to just fully enjoy the adventure that I want to take you on. I want you to fully embrace everything that's coming to you, knowing that it's good, knowing that I'm, leading you into great things. And it's a completely different place to be in with the Lord. And I really felt this morning God again was sharing of saying like, hey, I know you can trust me through the difficult times. Your life has been made up of that. So much of everything that you've been through in life has gone through some difficulty, and it's been hard, but I've been there with you, and I know that you trust me, leading you through all of those times. But now I want to show a different aspect of my heart, and this part of my heart, I want to show you that I am the God that I fulfill my promises, and I can lead you into just the great and joyous times of life. Just as much as I led you in the wilderness, I can lead you in the promised land. And it's just a different mindset. It's a different, there is a crossing over in your mind, in your heart of, okay, this is new, this is different. I think that's why so much of what God is saying is like, I am leading you into a new place. I know for us personally, it is very new to be led into a place where you're not disappointed. And this is on like a much grander scale, because I believe that God, 10 years ago over 10 years ago when we met, it was a taste of that. Your heart had been disappointed so many times, and it was like, can you trust me that I'm actually going to fulfill this? And here we go, I'm fulfilling it. And it was leading your heart into this different place that it was unfamiliar.
Stop. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. I'm just getting this now. Spoiler alert, divine interruption, this must be said. You know what's crazy? Listen to this. You know how God, you guys can just listen in. You know how God has just been like giving us those, like the first year, 2017, 2018, but 2019, the third year, right? You were the third person. Remember when God led me? He was like, I want you to pursue, I want you to dream, I want you to go after this wife. Because for many, many, many years, God was like, don't do it. I'm like, man, I am lonely. I don't want to be alone. Am I going to be alone for the rest of my life? I guess I'm just going to be alone for the rest of my life, whatever. And that was one of those times where I'm just waiting for God to move, waiting for the wind to blow. And then suddenly, I'm in the midst of reading my scripture, and then just in that moment, God was like, hey, it's time to move on this thing. And I was just like, what? No, you don't want me to seek a wife. You've been telling me for years not to do that. Now you want me to do that now? And it's like, I'm like, yay, I'm excited. I don't know. And it's that same situation, that same kind of like, what's going to happen? I know you're leading me to do this, but yeah, I don't think, what's going to go wrong? You know what I mean? That same mindset, but it's like, I'll do it anyway because I know that you're telling me to do it. And that's not a situation where someone would think you're crazy for doing that.
No.
You're taking this step of faith. But for me, it was huge. It was a huge step. And so it was just interesting because I'm going along and this is really great. Met this one girl and we're chatting online, on the phone, constantly. It's like, this is great. I'm like, Lord, look at how well you're doing this. This is amazing. Had me take a flight. Oh my God. Had me take a flight to go meet the girl. Soon as I saw her in the airport, the Lord dropped it on me. That's not the one. I'm sorry. I never get tired of telling that moment because I'm just like, are you serious? You brought me all this way. We went through all of this. I'm literally on a plane. I'm in the airport in Michigan, and I'm looking at the girl she was way far away, actually. She was across the way, and I just looked. As soon as I saw who she was, and it was almost like she saw me at the same time, I knew right away. It was just a sense of like, that's not the one. The Lord just showed me, and I was just like, you waited all this time. What, for real? Come on, bro. Like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Well, because you needed to, it was part of what God needed me to go through. It was part of what we needed to do. And so that was the first one. And that was hard. And that was like 2017. Mm-hmm. Now, 2018 was, maybe it'll fall apart here, but it's like, and I went on that second date, and that was like, I think that one was actually, it really was kind of harder, because it was hard for me to just get back going again. Mm-hmm. And then it was like,
and I was like, have it end in another,
and then it was just like another disappointment, and it was obvious. It was just from the beginning. It was like, okay, this one ain't gonna work. And it was at that moment that I was like, I'm done. Mm-hmm. I'm done. It's not worth the trip.
Yeah,
it's not worth it. It's not worth it, man. It's just like, I'd rather just go ahead and be single, stay here in my cave with my little scrawny nakedness and my loincloth. At least I catch a couple rabbits a day. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, that's just how you feel. And you literally have no desire for anything. But then it's like the third time, it's like, come on, Devin, let's go. You know, it's like, wow, man, if the Lord, I don't care whether you want to give up or not. If the Lord's not giving up, then good luck giving up. It's not going to work. You know, not if there's a part of your heart in there that's still just like, I really just want to do what the Lord wants me to do. Yeah. You do? Okay, cool. Come on, let's go to Panera. I got something for you. It's not like that's what he said. I'm just summing it up.
Yeah.
But you were the third one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like that third year where it's time to build and plant. You were that third year in my life during that time. Oh, glory to God. Oh my gosh, that is just so amazing. You know, there is something special about that third time, that third day, that third visitation, that third strike, that third, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's just something really, really cool about it, you know?
Yeah.
So like Michelle was saying, where there's just such a familiarity of being disappointed. And it's like when I met Michelle, seriously, I'm serious, like for like, it's 6/16.
Holla.
Dang. Well, when did we meet, Sweetie Pea?
We met on 6/16.
June 16th. Wow. Anyway, there's a whole slew of videos we can make just on the significance of that. But then it's like the whole time I'm meeting Michelle, I think for like weeks on end, I was like, I'm waiting. I was like, is this real? This is not gonna. No, she's gonna bail at some point. At some point, she's gonna bail.
Yeah.
I think we were married for like 2 years, and I was like, she's gonna bail. At some point, she's gonna get tired of me constantly talking and interrupting, and just something's gonna happen, because that's all that's ever happened, you know. Mm-hmm. And then the girls that really did like me, that I was just like, oh Lord, what about her? And I was like, nope, sorry, man, you can't. Oh, come on, we're like best friends, like ever. Yeah. And God's like, no, I'm looking at the long term, bro. No, you guys are good friends. That's all I wanted to do. I told you before you even went to YWAM, I was going to give you sisters, and you guys are going to be super, super close, but you're not going to marry any of them. So this is one of them. So I'm telling you, you're not going to marry her. I already told you this before. You know, why are you even asking? You ever have your kids do that to you? It's like, listen, when we go to the restaurant, you cannot have ice cream. I'm telling you this 5 times, okay? Because I know you're going to ask me. You cannot have ice cream, all right? You can't, all right? Okay, we're good? Yes, we understand. We understand. The dinner's over. Dad, can we have ice cream? It's like, what? No! No, you can't have ice cream. Why are you even asking me? That's kind of like what it was for me. I'd be asking the Lord all kind of stuff that he said, no, you can't have. And it's like, it wasn't a Balaam situation where Jesus was like, well, go ahead then, you know?
No.
But I just thought that was funny.
But I just think that it's interesting, though, because if you think about it, that was a time and a season of your life where it was like, God was like, hey, I'm actually giving you the desire of your heart. And
it was as big as what we're waiting for right now.
But then
it was a huge deal.
It really was. It took you years and years before you really embraced the fact that, no, this is like not going away. This isn't, because there's still that fear in your heart.
Seriously, it probably took me about, what, like 5 years?
Yeah.
Before I was like, okay, I guess she's sticking around.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, but to really embrace that, it was like, wow, this is good. This is from the Lord. Like, okay, I don't have to walk in fear.
This is really amazing.
I don't have to walk in this fear.
Yeah. Go ahead. Oh. Well, it wasn't something that I lived in. It was just that little kind of tomb place in my heart reserved for that day when she's like, I'm done. Mm-hmm. And then when you look at it logically, it's not like I ever do anything that would cause someone to like walk out on me.
Yeah.
But my heart's been shaped by so much disappointment that even this lady, the best lady ever, so tolerant and patient. It's ridiculous. Can make a slew of videos on that. It's just like, you're just not. She's a golden retriever is meaner than her. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, but it doesn't matter. See, when you have a dead part of your heart or a place where you're reserving some sort of darkness, not a wicked, demonic, rebellious type of thing. It's just something where God is not, he's not allowed to rule and reign there. Because it's a maturing process and all that stuff. It's nothing wicked, so to speak, but it is like a dead area. Then it doesn't matter what the evidence is.
Yeah.
Jesus himself could be sitting right here talking to you, and you could be like, we'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, when you have that part of your heart, it can take a while for it to just open up. But it's like, I feel like what we're saying really ultimately is, if we're there, we know that if we're sharing this video, there's other people out there as well that God's inviting you to open up that part of your heart, come on out of it, let him in to glorify it and bring the truth to it. Yeah. And in the same way as when we met, it's like, it really is going to happen. When God says it's your turn, you can be like, yeah, it is our turn, and not be like, I've heard those prophetic words before. No. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, and I really feel like, in that case, like, when we met and God, brought you to a point eventually where you're just like, he brought that out of you, where you didn't have that fear. But I just believe God is like, I want that to come out now. Yeah. So that you can walk into it and there is no fear. Yeah. There is no fear that, when is this going to get taken away? Yeah. There's no fear of like, okay, this is great. What's the catch? Yeah. Okay, I'm allowed to receive this, but what do I need to do now? Mm-hmm. He's like, no, I want you to be free sons and daughters, where I as a father can just give to you because I love you. And that is why I'm giving you these things. That is why I'm doing these things in your life. And it's just out of my great love for you that I want to have this thing happen. Yeah. But he's like, I want to go into those places that are either closed off or are frozen. I don't know why, but just that idea of a frozenness, that needs to be melted away.
That. I understand what you're saying there.
And
it's almost like Steve Rogers, Captain America. He's frozen for 70 years in the ice.
Yeah.
Something amazing and great. Some amazing scientific breakthrough. Great, amazing breakthrough. And the evidence of it and everything that happened 70 years ago is thawed underneath the ice. And no one knows where it is. It's just there. You know what I mean? So it's like there's these great, amazing things that God has made you to be. Yes. Superhero type level things. And it's frozen under the ice there. And God's like, no, let's melt that away. Yeah. Let's bring out who you really are. And all the glory that I have put in you. Awake. Be dormant no more. Be unfrozen. Come out. That's basically what the gist of it is, right?
Yes, very much so. And it really is like it's
come on, Captain America.
Yeah.
Where you at?
Exactly. It's time for God's people to be unfrozen.
You've been dead for too long, bro.
Yes.
Time to do some hero work.
Yes. and so it's like God, he needs this to happen before he brings the wind of his spirit, because it's like if we have frozenness still in our hearts, or if we're still kind of in the cave mentality, or just in this place of unhealthiness, it's going to be difficult to move with his spirit.
Self-preservation.
And God's like, I'm bringing you to a healthy place so that when my spirit moves, you are going to fly. You know, you really are going to fly, and you're going to be free, and you will be able to move with my spirit without fear, and to just fully embrace what I'm doing and be excited for what I'm doing. Not timid, not
fearing what you believe is going to happen to mess it up.
Happen, and seeing. I don't know. I really see just the blue skies and the sun shining, and God's like, when my spirit comes, it's going to continue to be that. I'm not taking you to the storms, and I don't know that He can say that 500 million times, but it's like He's like, I can't say it enough. Is what
You're feeling it very strongly.
It's like
God's like, I'm going to say this
or over. Do not think that is where I'm leading you. I'm leading you to my glory, into the places of these fulfilled promises, but you have to trust me and let me lead. And so... Because
the Lord told me, He's like, because when the wind comes and it blows and the sails, it catches the sails of your life and you start traveling, that's exactly where we're going.
Yes.
We're going there.
Yes.
And it's like, woo! Well, come on, Cletus.
Yeah.
Come on.
He's like, our hearts need to be in alignment with Him. And that alignment is also just the health of our heart. You know? And so, we just need to allow Him just to melt things away, fatten us up for those that, you're looking really gaunt. It's like, God's like, no, I got to get you fattened up so that you're healthy.
Yeah.
And,
just so that you're healthy.
Yeah.
You're not even fat yet.
No, you're not fat. You're just healthy.
If you're looking like I was looking in the vision, where I'm looking like, one of those Ethiopian children that's like, save the world. They're all super skinny.
Yeah.
You fatten them up. That means get them to the place where they're healthy.
Yeah.
You don't want to actually have them be really big and fat, because now that's an unhealthy place.
Although that fattening up of our hearts is coming.
I'm okay with that. if it's a Holy Spirit fattening, I'm good.
Yes.
Feed me as much as you want to feed me, bruh.
Yeah, which I believe God.
It's all good if it's from
really
God.
Is going to do. He's talking not only just about the fattening up of just getting us to the place where we're healthy, so He can then lead us to a place, the feasting on His promises, His fulfilled promises, where we will literally become fat upon His Spirit and upon everything that He's showing us.
Well, it's another vision that kind of goes along with the banqueting door vision, where this wind just came along out of nowhere and just blew the door open, and at the exact same time it blows the door open, it lifts all these people up that are in it, and it lifted us up into the air. And we were like, whoa, on this kind of like ride at an amusement park. We're like, what is going on? We weren't afraid.
Yep.
Nothing. We were like, this is amazing. What's going on? And then we get set at our seat at the banqueting table to feast on the fulfilled promises and the fulfilled words. And it's like, wow. And that's a one on top of another thing as well. So because you're going on this crazy ride, that's the first thing. And then you get set to feast on the promises, and that second thing is greater than the first thing. So it's like, again, it's like God's bringing us out to, everything we've been saying, to fatten us up and to get us ready for what He's getting ready to do, so that when that wind comes along, it's the same as the wind that blows open the banquet doors.
Exactly.
It blows you along to get to the landing place of your promised land. Where you will feast on the good of the land. And it's all pictures that mean the same thing. Jesus did that all the time. The kingdom of God is like, well, wait a minute, I thought you said it was like this. It's the same thing, bro.
Yeah.
Keep up with me.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this was actually a verse, I just wanted to read this. It comes from in Deuteronomy chapter 26. And I really felt like when we read this, that again it was this kind of 3-year thing. And it actually is verse 17, 18, and 19. And they literally, I felt, especially
fit
for
those
us,
years.
Fit all of these years. And really 19 is what God is doing for this year.
Yeah.
And so I'll start in verse 17. It says, "You have openly declared the Lord this day to be your God, pledging to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his precepts, and to hearken to his voice." And for us, that's very much what happened for us in 2017. It was just like, all right, God, we're doing this with you. You know, we're saying, okay, we're going to just walk in your ways, and this is crazy, but okay.
Well, it's like we always have.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, I mean, from the time I got saved from at 22 and a half, but you, since you were like 6, you know, but it's like we always have. But this, what started in 2017 was totally
different.
It's what we're still doing right now.
Yeah.
Which is why we're in the support raising thing again and all that stuff, is because it's like, wow, what are you getting ready to do? You know, because this is completely brand new. Mm-hmm. It's like, but God's like, okay, but you declare that you're gonna trust me and walk in my ways. Okay, here we go. That was 2017.
Yeah, and that was all 2017. And then verse 18 says, "And the Lord has declared this day that you are his peculiar people, as he promised you, and you are to keep all his commandments." And for us, that has been 2018. Mm-hmm. Just the fact of just how he sustained us and is continuing to sustain us. It's like, wow, only the Lord could do this. And then
every time we meet people, you know, look at our YouTube comments. We have conversations with people. They go like, "Ooh, those are some peculiar folks. What are they doing? Why are you doing it that way? Yeah. What are you that can't be the Lord? No, you're weird. Let's see what happens." You know. So there was just like a peculiarness to what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And God is like, I'm declaring this day that you're my peculiar people, as he promised you. Mm-hmm. It's like you're peculiar, chosen. God's going to choose you to do some crazy thing because you said yes. Okay, come on, let's go. And you're going to look weird. Mm-hmm. You know, freedom. You're going to look dumb when you get free. Anyway, you're going to look peculiar. You're going to look weird. You know, truth be told, the things that Jesus did and the things that he said were weird.
Yeah.
If you really, because we don't have time to get into it, but when you study the culture and the expectation of what the Messiah would be like and how he would act and how all of that was just part of the culture. Mm-hmm. There wasn't just a person's expectation. It was a cultural expectation. This is what's going to be like when the Messiah comes. And so when Jesus comes, he's clearly the Messiah. How can you not? He is the prophet, they would call it. You know, they even had a term for the Messiah. He was called the prophet. Like the one that Moses said was supposed to come. It's like, after me will come another prophet. They were probably thinking, well, once Moses dies, this other prophet guy will come. No. It was like, talking about the Messiah. But when Jesus showed up, man, he was not at all what they expected. Mm-hmm. He was weird. And he was hanging out with the people we're not supposed to be hanging out with.
Yeah.
You know, and he's drinking with them. What is he eating? Is that legal? He can't possibly be the Messiah, because everything that Jesus was just a full frontal assault on their human reasoning and understanding. And what they approved was the proper appearance and manifestation of the Messiah. Mm-hmm. He was like, it's like, no, I'm God. I'm going to show up in the fleshly body. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to show you who I really am. It's going to be undeniable, mm-hmm. and you're going to have to wrestle with it. Yeah. You're going to have to just deal with it. Mm-hmm. But my goodness, my goodness and my mercy and my miracles and the works of wonder that my Father will work through me for you, it will help you so easily. It's just going to help you. You're going to be able to overcome the mental stuff really quick. You know what I mean? If you want to. Yeah. For those who have ears to hear, those who really want to know. The things that Jesus did just made him go like, oh, you have to be the Messiah. I don't understand it. This is not the way I saw it happening. Hello, 2017, 2018. But this is clearly you. Yeah. You know? Little side thing. You know, I'm good for those.
And so then in verse 19, which I believe is what God is really doing and speaking and preparing us for in this year, is that it says, "And he will make you high above all nations, which he has made, in praise and in fame and in honor, and that you shall be a holy people to the Lord your God, as he has spoken. And so that is just the lifting up that he's basically saying, hey, this year I'm going to bring a lifting up and an honor and make you a praise, which really is just, it's him saying, hey, I'm going to
make you fruitful, raise you to life. All those other three that he talked about before, here it is again. We could almost make a fourth video.
Yeah.
But it's like...
And so I just was like, wow, Lord, this is just amazing. Because we've actually had these verses with us for a long time. And we just recently, literally a couple days ago, read
these
through
back
it.
in 2017.
Yeah, read through it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, these verses themselves really, for us and personally, just really match the years that God has been taking us through.
Yeah.
And so it's really, we're just kind of really excited about just like, all right, Lord, this is what you're saying and you're declaring. And it really fits into everything that he's already been saying for this year.
Yeah.
And he's been talking so much about, you know, this year is going to be different and it's going to still require faith. It's just a different... It's different in the sense that this time the faith is to believe for that which is good. And I know that that's what we've been believing for before, but it was almost like that faith of, Lord, you're going to get us through these things. You're going to help us. You're walking with us through these storms. You're going to get us there. You're going to get us there. And now God's like, yes, I am. The storm is over. Now I'm taking you there. Do you believe that I am actually taking you there and that you are going to see the fulfillment of the words that I've spoken over your life?
Yes, I do, Lord. Yes, I do. Raise your hand. Raise your hand right where you're sitting. Be like, yes, I do, Lord. I absolutely believe. You may not even feel like it. You may not even feel like raising your hand, but you should just say, raise your hand. Just, yep, Lord, I do. I do. I'm just going to do this as a prophetic act against everything I'm feeling and thinking. And I'm just, yes, I do. I believe you're taking me there. Because all the evidence points to it. Yeah. And so my soul can shut up and sit down. The Spirit is in charge, and I'm in agreement with God. Yeah. There you go. Here, raise your hand one more time. Just say, thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
That's the kind of stuff we do all the time. Like, seriously, this is like, welcome to our world. A little snippet of it.
Yep.
You know? So I think that's it, right?
I think so. Yeah. I think that's all that we have for you guys.
Praise the Lord.
God has some awesome things in store. I just believe that he is saying, he's saying, like, I have many surprises for my body of believers. I have many surprises. And he has been awaiting this time and this moment for so long. And, you know, we ourselves have been waiting for a long time. But God is like, I've been waiting. I have been preparing my bride, my people, for what I'm about to do. Yeah. And he is really excited. Yeah. I wish I could fully express the excitement that the Lord has. But he is extremely excited to just come in and bring his people into the banqueting feast, where we are feasting on the promises that he has spoken over our lives, and they are fulfilled. And it's like, God is just like, yes, and he's just very enthusiastic and very excited, but he's also just like, hey, just keep going with me, keep moving with me. And right now what I'm asking you to do is just let me thaw out those frozen places. Let me give life. Let me feed you. Let me do the things that are going to bring you to that complete and healthy place, so that when I move, you also are very excited and joyful over this adventure that I'm taking you on. Yeah. And that it will be just a wonderful, and just being in awe of the Lord. And like you said, when we're lifted up, that there's no fear in it. It's more of just like awe and wonder of like, wow, this is the Lord. You know, look at what he's doing. Look at how he's lifting his people up. Look at his hand and how he is just being God, being who he is.
Yeah.
And we are going to see him in just such an amazing, new, and different way. You know, it's one thing to hear what he's done in the scripture, to hear even what he's done in other people's lives, but to see with our own eyes God perform and God do in the miraculous ways that he's going to do things in
and
our own life.
You have the testimony.
Exactly.
You have it. It's your testimony.
Yeah. It's like, it's going to open our eyes. We really are just going to be wide-eyed in wonder of who God is.
You know what? It's like, guys, I'm telling you, I truly believed for a long time that I was just genuinely, I can't explain it to you, but you know it on a heart level of what it's like to long for something and just not see it, and year after year after year, just not see it. And you just wonder. I was convinced that I'm never going to get married. I mean, I was convinced. I was just like, it's just not something that God has for me. And I was like, I just have to learn how to live with this unfulfilled desire. Because God's not taking it away, which I've asked him to do a bajillion times. That is a word, bajillion. No, it's not. But I've asked him to do that, and he won't take it away. So this is obviously, think about it. This is obviously where he wants me. And it was where he wanted me. But the things I was thinking, not all of those things were what he wanted me to think. But he's like, I'm not going to care about that. When I do what I'm going to do, that stuff will get taken care of.
Yeah.
And so I did. I just believed it with my whole heart. My soul entered into the iron, like Joseph. And I just believe, I'm just going to be in this place of suffering my whole life. You know, with a desire that's not fulfilled, but God's not taking it away. That's suffering. It's like, I'm just going to be there. You know? So when God began to move and was like, hey, I want you to pursue this, man, I let that cat out of the bag. You know, I just let my heart out. And then I went through those 2 major disappointments. And I was just like, see? Told you. You see? Because then that circular thinking can come in. I don't know if that's the right psychological term, but it can validate what you believe. It's like, see? Even the Lord it's almost like God's powerless. Yeah. Over this particular situation in your life. He's completely powerless to help you, because every time you're even being led by the Spirit to do something, and then it fails, and you just think God's up there going, oh man, I'm so sorry about that, man. Well, maybe we should try this direction, as if he's not God and he can't just do like that. You know, because he could if he wanted to, but it's like, but then you have to think like, well, why are things happening the way they're happening? Well, he's operating off of stuff he knows. And he does share stuff with us, even in our current situation. But it's like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows the process that he has to go through. And he knows what he has to keep from you in order to keep you going. Because if some of the stuff you knew you were going to have to face in the future, you'd be like, no. You would slam your heart in the jail, lock it up, throw the key in the ocean. I'm never coming out. I am not going through that. You know, that's kind of some of the reasons I think God doesn't share some stuff with us. Like when? When is this going to, that's God's, that's the holy of holies. You know, you don't go there. You can ask, but he's probably not going to tell you.
Yeah.
And so it's like, God understands what the heart feels and what it's like to just long for something and not get it. He knows what it's like to be like, all right, I guess I'll cast my nets again, you know, hoping and believing for this thing to come to pass. We'll wait for it to not happen, and then we'll see what God's going to say to try to comfort me. Come on. You know what I'm saying? He knows what that's like.
Yeah.
And it's like, it can't be like that forever. The evidence is sitting right next to me for about 10 and a half years now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it just can't be that way. It can't. It's like, if God spoke a word, there's a desire in your heart that's still unfulfilled, and it's like, God's like, I want that there, then he wants to fulfill it. But the process that he's taking you through to get there is going to prepare you to receive it in a place of health and wholeness. You know?
Yeah.
You could go on forever, you know.
Yeah. You could.
I could.
We've already gone.
I often do. But you never get tired of me.
I don't.
You never get tired. Not only that, but you've grown to a place where you start adding stuff, and now we'll spend like 2-3 hours after the kids go to bed just talking, and it's like, this is amazing. Remember the other day, I was like, we're still on our first date, aren't we?
I know.
Our first date has not yet ended. We're still, you meet somebody and you just love them, and you just talking for hours. You're like, oh, where did all the time go?
Yeah.
We're still like that. Still to this day.
All the time. A lot of times we have to cut ourselves off.
We have to purposely.
Okay, we really need to go to bed now. Like, for real.
Like this video.
Just like this video. It needs to be put to bed. It needs to finish. See, so you think we
just try to bring you in. just come on into the LaVore's. I can't say living room.
Yeah, it's more
hotel room. Oh, that's right. We're back in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, that's
a
for
whole
later. Another video, but
that's a little end credit scene right there.
But yeah, so I think that is what we have for you guys today, and just pray that you guys are encouraged by what God is doing, what He's speaking and saying, and just pray that you are blessed. That just continue to turn your face to God and just know that He is leading us into some awesome and amazing things, and we just need to let our hearts be open before Him. Let Him bring our hearts into health. Let Him thaw out our hearts and those places that have been frozen. And
get that Captain America shield out.
Yep. And so
frozen in the ice.
I don't know. I just feel like it is a time to be excited. Time to just be in anticipation of the move of God, and that He is going to lead us all to the places that we have been contending for years. And so pray that you guys are blessed. Yeah,
and we are going to do a video about the room we did move, and we're in that room 3, 2, 1 that we said it's the room at the end, and it really was the room at the end of our arc time. But now here we are again, and it's like, oh my gosh, we could literally make a part 2 to this video right now, starting from here. But we won't do that. Yeah. But so God bless all of you guys. And again, if you guys want to support us, PayPal link below. We appreciate all the comments. It's just been a great journey. We're excited to see what God's going to do in the body of Christ, but we're also excited to see what God's going to do in our personal lives, what He's going to do in your life, just to hear just what God's going to do.
Yeah.
It's going to be so awesome. We got so much stuff that we could share right now. We got like this much stuff we could share, all stacks of Post-it notes. Just like, oh, now we can make this video and make this video, but it's really cool. I mean, God is God. You think I talk a lot? Do you know the Lord? I mean, the dude is constantly talking sometimes, and then sometimes he's not talking enough. How do you figure that? Only God can do that, right? Talk too much and not talk enough all at the same time. Yeah. So anyway, so we just love you guys and appreciate you guys, and pray you are blessed by this video that is super long.
So until next time, guys, we will see you later.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.